Hello?
Mr. Poe.
And Mr. Edwards. What can I do for you?
Ever been to Summit Heights?
Can't say that I have.
That's okay. I need you to keep an eye on an ongoing situation there. We have a team on site looking into it. You're to avoid contact with this team, but we need cover in case the situation develops.
What do you need me to do?
Follow the movements of a particular subject and plant evidence. We may need to use him to explain away what's going on there.
Understood.
You have a pen handy? I have a few numbers for you to write down. If you call and I don't answer within 5 minutes, go to the next number and repeat the process until I answer. Understood?
Yeah. Give me the numbers and the name of the target.
So, what is your guys' next move?
My first thought is we need to get a hold of the engineers here.
Yeah.
Take them down. Obviously, you know, if anyone's going to know anything about viewer count, about any way that this signal could have been hijacked, you know, it'll be them. After that, hell, see if we can't shake out some of the local community too. See who exactly saw this and see if it really rattled them as bad as they're saying. It makes me wonder though, you know, back a couple months ago in Chicago, some, you know, jokesters wearing a Max Headroom mask took over a local radio, you know, TV station there. But that's in the middle of, you know, Chicago, not bumfuck nowhere, Pennsylvania.
That's true. Honestly, and I think this is being discussed while we get a bit of space for ourselves. I don't think this is super serious to check who saw the video, because it's already been out there. What are we gonna do? Kill everyone who saw it? I don't think that's it's gonna be worth.
Jesus Christ, I know you were in them too, but come on, we don't go around doing my around here, alright? That's not what I'm
that's
suggesting.
what I said, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, that's not what I'm suggesting.
Hey, Scott.
What I'm saying is...
Scott, you bringing up the incident from 1987. Give me an N×5 roll.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me one moment. How big is my brain? I forgot.
Well, let's find out.
Success. 3 under 85 for N×5.
You also recall that in 1986 there was a hijacking of HBO on the East Coast here in the U.S. An individual calling themselves Captain Midnight interrupted a film for about 5 minutes, broadcasting text over these colored bars that were complaining about like the recent price hike of the HBO channel itself as an incident that sticks out to you.
But in both cases, they were disconcerting, but they weren't nearly as outright disturbing as this interruption was. You know, these guys were looking to make people laugh. Whoever did this is obviously looking to get under people's skin.
By the way, here's a map of Summit Heights.
Receiver, man.
Oh,
Nice.
that is a very nice map.
The handouts for this are fantastic.
Yeah. So, I think it's good if we can shake down the engineers here. That's a good call, John. Gotta get used to that. However, I also think one of the best moves we could do is check out what the Mars dude, Frank, what's his deal is. So, I suggest we split.
Yeah, we all got our own cars this time.
I think checking up on the parents might be good too, because if anybody's going to remember those first broadcasts, it will be the parents that called in about it.
We could go knocking on door to door, or...
Well, we're going to get their phone numbers from the technician.
Well, if they do have them.
From
let's say like
Larry. He said he did.
So, okay, checking up with the parents.
Mm-hmm.
Let's wait until his secretary gets us, first of all, the address for Frank and then some of the numbers.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll wait for that.
Yeah, meanwhile, we could talk with some of the engineers here.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to talk with the engineers. Cool. You ask one of the other employees here at the TV station where the engineers can be found. And there's a basement of the offices here. It's a labyrinthian maze of storage crates, cables, old monitors, editing bays, a bunch of disused props, and similar things like that. There are, at least you can see from here, there's at least two. One of them is sitting at a desk and is looking at by our standards, a pretty antiquated computer. You see one of them get up and they move over to, it looks like a big piece of monitoring equipment, right? It's like a huge data bank in here, like one big, huge computer that is in here. So, I mean, there's one guy that's looking at that, and then there's another guy on the other side of this basement looking at stuff. Whatever you guys want to do, if you want to poke around, ask around.
Eddie will try and find an engineer to talk
to.
Yeah,
the guy on the other side of the room looks like he's not as busy as the guy going between his desk and the equipment here. And he looks over his shoulder and says, "Ah, are you one of those private investigators that Larry hired?"
Yeah, Peter Brown. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Look, I saw the VCR tape of that signal that interrupted your broadcast. Yeah. I wanted to know, since you obviously have a lot more technical knowledge about this than I do, what would it take to send out a transmission like that? What kind of power are we talking here?
He stands up, brushes cleans his hands off from whatever dust or dirt he may have picked up from the carpeted floor, and he says, so the station broadcasts, I'll see if I can break this down. Station broadcasts at around 488 megahertz, at around 500 kilowatts, which gives a range of roughly 20 miles of coverage from the main broadcast antenna just outside the building. And he points up to the ceiling. And you guys did see a large broadcast antenna when you pulled up. And he says, so you got that. And then there are 3 broadcast relay stations that further increase the signal's range. Each one's about 15, 20 miles away from here at the peaks of the mountains. And you guys do recall coming in, seeing a bunch of radio towers scattered about the valley and scattered about the mountains and whatnot. And he says, these relays, they kind of help avoid shadow areas, so households that are out in the valleys and behind the mountains can receive signals. And so he walks over to what turns out to be his desk, and he looks through an array of papers, and I have another handout for you all. And he says, here, this is kind of like a rough overlay of the area. Right in the middle is where we currently are. Those 3 circles are where the broadcast antennas are. Listen, the perpetrator, whoever's doing this, those crazy dudes, they would need to know what they're doing and have access to heavy-duty equipment and be within line of sight of the main antenna. Now, the only private seller in town is a guy named Calvin McCloskey, right? He owns Electrical's TV VCR repair. Might want to check in with him. He might know something. But, don't worry about this. Take it if you need it. I mean, I don't know what you're really going to make out of it. At least you can see kind of the rough overlay and the rough positioning of where the different relays are. I mean, if you can read a map, and you put this side by side, you should be able to figure out how to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, you did see the structure of the main antenna on your way in. It's this red and white lattice mass. There's 3 sets of wires that are keeping it in place. And also, particularly Eddie and Kimble, the direction you guys had come in, there was you would have seen a shed that likely would have contained some sort of generators, and they were near the back of the building as you guys were coming around from another direction. Not the same way that Vince and Scott came.
Now, with the phone calls they have logged, do they also have the addresses of the people that called, the names, or no?
Well, even if they just have the number, we could always look up Yellow Pages.
And the engineer that Eddie had been talking to snaps his fingers, is like, that's good thinking. That's why Larry hired you guys. You know, I mean, I got my area of expertise, but clearly you guys see things from a different viewpoint, you know, so you could try there. Tracking calls isn't really my thing. I just handle the equipment and know how it works. Larry's secretary would probably be able to get all that for you.
So if they needed a clear sight of the main antenna, would they have probably broadcasted it from a rooftop?
Yeah, like a rooftop
somewhere?
or a building with a decent line of sight to the antenna.
Okay. Is there like a range that they would have had to be within?
I mean, line of sight is really all that's needed. I mean, they could have been from anywhere, really. They could have been, hell, parked right outside of the station. They could have been somewhere in town and just been able to look at it.
All right. Well, they couldn't have been that far.
Could I have also been in line of sight of the relays?
I suppose that's possible, yeah. You would have to... I mean, I don't know for sure, but, I mean, that would make sense, you know? I guess if you were to... like, I don't know. You're talking about phone calls, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if you can see if there's a pattern of phone calls from one particular area to another, maybe that could tell you. I don't know, though. I mean, you'd have to... That'd be a lot of phone calls to go through and put together.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking earlier.
It's possible. It just would take you some time.
I would probably still be faster than just going to all of those relays, checking out if anyone moved there with heavy-duty equipment.
You know, Frank really is the best guy for all this. It's a shame that he is not here.
Do you know much about Frank? We were trying to figure out some more about him.
Yeah, I mean, nice enough guy, you know. Really did like to keep to himself. It's just weird that he Eddie, give me a human roll.
Who else is near him?
Technically everyone, right? Because we also talked with him.
Yeah, Vince, you said something to him, and I know that Scott was on the other side of the room, so not Scott.
All right. Well, I got a 73 over 60. Maybe one of you guys near me can pick up something.
Well, I got a 16 over 10.
I mean, Scott, if you want to do it from across the room, man.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Since it's kind of... There's not great lighting down here, give me a minus 20.
All right. And that's, you said human?
Yeah.
Failure, 65 over 33. You're taking that penalty.
The guy just seems really concerned about his coworker not being here, and especially since he's the senior engineer, you know, like, he's the guy with the real technical knowledge and know-how.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I was looking at the wrong... It would have failed anyway, but it should have been 65 over 37.
Okay. Either way, you still failed.
Can I roll something?
Yeah, what do you want to roll, man?
As I'm looking through this... Well, I'm looking through this video. I'm trying to pick apart, like, what is real and what is not. Again, we're in the 80s, so, like... graphics and video, like now I can look at the video and see that certain things are fake, but I'm curious about what Kimble would pick up on.
Is this really Kimble's area?
I'll
give you a roll, but I'm trying to determine like how you think
I'm trying to think, yeah.
Because I want to say this really isn't his area.
Yeah, I mean I don't think it's his. Is there a way I could roll like a cult for it?
I was gonna have you do an n times 5 minus 20%.
Or he can do that. That's fine, too. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do it times 5 minus 20.
Oh.
Jesus, what a bummer. It's a failure at a 68 over 65.
Yeah, I mean, you're scrubbing for this video, looking at it, and maybe it's the fact that it's still fairly early in the morning, and you did just finish driving a decent amount of time, and having, stayed over, getting used to the area you're in. Maybe it's the elevation and whatnot, but I mean, from what you're seeing with the video, it's hard to say. If you're trying to look at it from the angle of the unnatural, it's hard to say whether or not what you're seeing is genuine, if it's an elaborate prank. But then again, you don't know what parts of it could be unnatural. I mean, you do see that face near the end of the video, but it also looks like it could be a mask.
Yeah,
it's hard to say. At least right now, in the moment.
Does he feel like the part that I'm really curious about is the bit with the flush couch.
Is it a flush couch though, or is it just a really good prop?
That's what he's curious. I think what he's trying to ascertain is like, is this building real? Because video games are coming out nowadays, in the 80s, and he's not necessarily well versed with it. He doesn't have time, frankly, or interest. But he knows that some of them can kind of do things like this. But I think he's just trying to figure out, like, is this a building we should be looking for?
You don't know.
Okay.
So, what's the next move?
First of all, we need the addresses and the phone numbers. And I think then we're just gonna split up into 2 teams of 2 again, looking at Frank's residence and also going through the parents. And
do
maybe
we need
even
2 groups, or can we do...
I mean, we could also split up. Everyone goes on their own.
I'm just
That's
saying,
also-
like, I'm comfortable with Kimble taking charge on calling the parents while y'all branch out, either doing your own separate things or going together, just so that we can cover as much ground as possible.
Yeah, that's
I
also
think
fine.
if you guys get the list of phone numbers, Eddie can do the triangulation with the navigates.
That's
rolls
good.
and
Okay.
stuff.
All right. So,
Okay. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
And
one of them calls, so Kimble calls
Okay.
them. Eddie triangulates them during that time. So maybe Scott and Vince go to Frank's house, because I don't think we should go there completely alone.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So Eddie, you get the sense that the engineer down here isn't gonna. He's run out of things to tell you that would seem useful and are outside of his realm of knowledge. So the 3 of you go back up and collect Dr. Kimble, who had been watching the video up in the conference room on the TV. Discuss your plans, and
Can we, while we go upstairs to collect Kimble, can we also just collect?
I was going to
phone
say that was going to
numbers
happen on the way
and
out.
the
but,
address?
Yeah, that works too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it makes more sense, because then we can
Yeah,
just
so
say,
the 3 of you go
numbers
back up, and Larry's secretary stops you and says, here are those phone numbers you were looking for.
Thanks, perfect. What about the address for
Yeah,
Frank?
got that too. And he hands you a piece of paper. He's a lot less yelly than he was when he first yelled at you all to come inside when you first got there. He says, if you need anything else, just give the station a call, and we'll see what we can do for you. Hope you find them.
We will do our very best.
And the secretary walks away. So now you have the phone numbers of the angry caller complaints. You have Frank Mars's address, and Eddie, you've had that map now too, of the relays and everything. So, are Scott and Vince going to drive separately or go together to Frank Mars's place?
Yeah, and then Vince says, "Okay, so, Kimble, oh wait, I should probably just David, right? Yeah, David." He looks around, hoping nobody heard that. We talked with an engineer down there. They said whoever did this whole broadcast thing, they were probably in line of sight before we check out any of the other antennas and shit like that. We've been thinking, maybe you give the parents a call. We have all the numbers here. You take Peter with you, and he pauses before saying Peter, having to think about it. You take Peter with you. He's gonna triangulate, look at all of those numbers where they're in which area they are, and then we can probably figure out which antenna has been hit. And good old John and I will drive over, see if we can gather any more information of Frank.
Kimble asks, should Peter and I do our work here, or potentially go back to our bed and breakfast? I mean, there's more technological capability here, but potentially less privacy.
Honestly, I prefer we wouldn't do the work here.
Okay.
The whole technological aspect, that's pretty nice, yeah, but if you would just want to call people, I think you could use the phone in your room. Those rooms do have phones, do they?
Yeah. Peter, do you need any extra... he sort of just gestures at the various wires and such. Equipment, I would get it now, so we don't have to come back here.
I would just pick some stuff up at a grocery store or something.
I mean, I suppose it wouldn't be bad to have a reason to go visit Calvin McCloskey.
That sounds like a plan, yeah.
Alright, so we'll take a couple things from here, we'll head to the B&B, do what we can, and then page us. You have his page or hers pager, so...
Yeah, we have the page numbers.
Yeah, page us if anything goes wrong. Let's meet back at the B&B in, what, an hour?
Well, let's make it 2.
2 hours. And then we can maybe talk about visiting McCloskey and the rest.
Yeah, let's do that. John, you want to hop in, or do you also want to drive your car?
No, I'd say we ride together. Save gas money that way. You know, scientists are saying that they're burning a hole through the ozone layer.
Yeah, as if, and he gets another cigarette.
Likewise.
I was wondering, while we're here for a second, and he's Kimble kind of checks around, makes sure that nobody's within earshot, and then once he's sure, says, "Is this going to be a regular thing, the 4 of us?"
Honestly, no offense to all of you, but I sure hope not.
Well, it's just that it's been, a couple months, and they're putting 4 people on a job again.
Especially such a public job.
Right. I don't know. Just odd.
Yeah, it's weird. Let's just say upper management at the detective agency sometimes has weird decisions.
I suppose so.
Well then, as you said, we will call if anything comes up, if we need any help. Let's go, John.
All right. So Vince and Scott, you guys head back out. Scott, you get into Vince's vehicle, and you guys head to Frank Mars's apartment. And then Eddie and Dr. Kimble grab a few things from the station. The engineers see you do this. Yeah. You go back down to the basement, you grab some stuff, the engineers nod, also shrug, say, eh. And then you guys go your separate ways. I need... Actually, just Scott. Make me an alertness roll while you guys are on your way to Frank Mars's apartment.
Yeah, you got it. Failure, 76
okay.
over
No
54.
Eddie and Dr. Kimble, as you guys get out of your vehicles back at the bed and breakfast, I need both of you to make me alertness rolls, please.
I got an 80 over 62.
I got a 24 under 32.
Eddie, you don't see this because you're focused on carrying the equipment back up into the second level of the bed and breakfast. But you, Dr. Kimble, as you get out of the car, you in particular, Dr. Kimble, you see on a nearby telephone pole, and it catches your eye and you walk closer, a missing poster for a 4-year-old kid named Jason Stein.
He snaps it off the pole.
Last seen Monday, September 18th. 10:15 a.m. at his home, 446 Shandy Street. Please help. If you see Jason or have any information, call 911 or Laura Stein at 539, and then the rest of it is smudged out. And September 18th was when the first broadcast went out.
Right. Do you want to describe the other stuff that's written on there before I open my big fat mouth?
There is a triangle with what looks to be an eye drawn in it. The name Rob in the lower left corner. Some weird symbols that are hand-drawn in the upper right corner. And then in the middle, there's a frowny face that has been drawn on in a cartoonish way. But then, next to the picture of Jason Stein itself, are the words, "Did he see the Gray Woman?" That looks like has been written on and is not part of the official typed-on paper. It's like hand-drawn.
Kimble, pauses and looks around to see if there's any other pinned up signs.
Not that you can immediately see. This just happened to be close enough for you to just... It caught your attention because it's a young smiling kid, and it says missing.
Right. He's disconcerted, especially by the handwritten.
The Gray Woman is, but everything else looks like it was just crudely handwritten.
That's what I'm saying. That's That's what I was trying to say. I just couldn't get the word. So he's especially struck by how everything on the poster that's written is in this kind of crude hand, except for the question, "Did he see the Gray Woman?" which is in this quite practiced, neat handwriting. It's almost like with a fountain pen, And he spent quite a bit of time in the station staring at that video, and he's just thinking about those last few frames where a face kind of leered out of the static.
Hey, Dr. Kimble, give me a sanity roll for helplessness,
Is it
please.
now my sanity? Am I adapted? I am adapted to helplessness,
you are.
so go
Okay.
fuck yourself.
That's fair. No, that's a very good point. No, that's fine.
For Kimble, it is a similar thought process as it is in his own practice. This is just work. Sure, this is a kid missing. Sure, this is a kid that might be dead or be taken or whatever. But this is work. It doesn't help him to be emotionally involved. And right now, he's not really concerned about, like, this smiling child. He's just like, well, this gets us closer.
And so you snatch this poster off of the telephone pole, and with that, you head back inside to the bed and breakfast. So, as Eddie was walking inside carrying the map and a Yellow Pages, that we're going to say that there was a Yellow Pages just sitting out front of the bed and breakfast that he grabbed. And so Eddie grabbed that, took that in with the map and anything else that he would have needed.
How many people are there? Is it just like me and Caius' character, pretty much?
Yeah, it's just you and Dr. Kimble for now.
Okay, me and Dr. Kimble and like whoever else lives there.
There's definitely
And
like,
the
people
owner.
staying there. But...
Is it like an old couple, stereotypical kind of thing? Or...
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, you've only seen an older woman who had been manning the desk, but this is also really the only place to stay in Summit Heights that is equivalent to a hotel. Dr. Kimble, what are you going to do now that you've taken this missing child poster off of the telephone pole?
He intends to call the number on it along with the various other numbers that we've got on the call sheet.
Did you want to start with that phone number first in particular, or did you just want to like hold off and see what the numbers produce?
He's gonna wait. He's gonna maybe call a couple of the other families first, just to figure out if we've got like a huge missing kids problem, or if any of them happen to naturally mention some gray woman.
Okay. So, because of this happening simultaneously with Vince and Scott going to Frank Mars' apartment, the way that this will play out is it's going to take you a few hours collectively to make phone calls and to track the different, locations and write them down on this map. I'm going to say it's going to take you guys up to I'm going to say you spent about an hour at the TV station, so it's about 10 a.m. when you guys got back and you guys went off and split off your separate ways. So it's going to take about 3 hours for you guys to map all the calls out. So up until about 1 p.m.
I'm going to ask Dr. Kimble if he'd like to order some food while we're doing this.
There's Maria's Diner, home-cooked meals, open 7 days a week, dine in or take out.
That is true.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not delivery,
there
but
is
it's takeout.
Is it in walking distance?
Definitely not.
Hey, you want to walk down to the diner and pick us up some food while I'm doing this?
I'll take my car. I'll go. I need a break from these phone calls anyway.
Alright. I'm just going to go back. I got like some reading glasses on, a pen.
Are you going to ask Eddie, Dr. Kimble, what he wants?
He'll turn to Eddie and say, is there anything particularly that you want?
Just like a cheeseburger.
Okay. Are you allergic to anything?
Nah, just ask for extra bacon and fries on the side.
Okay.
Oh, and tell them don't forget the ketchup and onions, lettuce, tomato, the fixins.
Okay.
Medium rare.
All right.
And a pickle.
Kimble just nods and internalizes that. Can I do an int check to see if I remember?
Yeah.
The whole fucking
Give me an int times
order?
5 roll.
Okay. That's a failure at a 98 over 85.
We'll get to that
Kimble
also.
Goes to the okay. We'll get to it.
You
All
just
right.
ordered, well done.
I have a good idea. of
No,
what
that's
I'm
fine.
gonna do.
So, Dr. Kimble, you leave the bed and breakfast, and
Don't forget the slaw.
Eddie says as you're walking
And
out,
Kimble is off in his head at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
you clamber back into your Volkswagen Beetle, and you head in the direction, basically a little bit. You guys are in the downtown area of Summit Heights, so you're heading west from the downtown area a little bit. You're still within the city limits, obviously, but it's not. There's not as much packed in around this area. Eddie, where are you sitting in this bedroom? Are you sitting by a window? Are you sitting on the bed, sitting in a chair, at a table? There would be like a little desk in there by the window. Where would you be posted up?
It'd be funny if I said I was on my belly with my legs kicked up in the air.
Kick my feet, kick my feet.
Like a little girl.
No, but...
No,
Just like circling.
I'm sitting at the writing desk.
Give me an alertness roll.
Oh, okay. Success 21 under 64.
So you're sitting there at the desk that's over by a window that's overlooking some of the streets in Summit Heights. You know, you see a bunch of row houses. You see mountains in the distance. You can also see one of the relay towers from your view up here on the second floor.
Fuck, I should have asked for rice pudding.
You think this, and as you are looking out the window, something in the distance between the alleyways of two of these houses catches your eye. And it looks almost like a sheet seems to be moving on its own, like maybe somebody's got clothing that's hanging up. But yet it has an appearance that looks like somebody's on the other side of it. And it's kind of hard to see what it is at first. And you think your eyes are playing tricks on you because, you know, as you're sitting here looking at the call logs, making X's on specific parts of this map, you know, it's weird, but maybe your mind's just playing tricks on you. But then you just look down and you go back to writing on the map and making calls. So I'm going to actually switch to the other two, to Scott and Vince. I can't remember who rode with who. Oh no, Vince drove. Vince drove. That's right. Because, okay, yes. I remember now. So you guys pull up to what is called the Chestnut Peak Luxury Apartments Complex. So this building, it's a 2-story brick building. It looks pleasantly kept from the outside. Looks like it's a little old. But yeah, you pull up. What's the approach?
I think probably take the lead on this one, Vince.
Yep. I could try.
Well, I guess, you know, let's get back in character here. Yeah, Detective Osmond.
Like, I've known you for, like, what, 1.5 days, but it feels weird calling you another name. Probably makes sense if someone overhears it calling us other names. Alright, John. Let's see.
There is a front door, you know, on this building. Easy enough to just walk up to if you wanted to.
Yeah, sure. Let's
As we're rolling up, can I go ahead and just make an alertness check to see, you know, kind of give feel of the land, you know, is there any, or like, are there any pedestrians? Does it look like, you know, anyone's been by here recently, even if it's just like the mailman or, you know, perhaps the cops?
Like in the area or like within the inside of the building itself? Like where specifically are you?
In the general area, not necessarily in the building.
Yeah, sure. Give me an alertness roll. Actually, search. Give me a search roll, actually.
A search. Okay, interesting. I can do that. Success, 54 under 64.
So there are some people in the streets, right? But not a lot. You think with the impending weather that's coming, the rainstorm, given the clouds that are hanging overhead, that people are already preparing to just head inside and they don't want to be out. At least from down here on ground level, you don't see any immediate signs that... I mean, if police have come and gone, you wouldn't see it down here. You would see it, like, probably upstairs.
Right.
But nothing really jumps out of you out of the ordinary from down here.
Gotcha. And that was kind of what I was going for, like, were there cops still, like, kind of outside the place, you know, keeping an eye on it, or even stranger if there was someone else out here watching the place.
No.
But seeing nothing, I nod to Vince and I'm like, all right, James, let's get to it.
What do you think? Should probably start at checking if he left the key or window is not completely
So this
closed,
would be
inside
of the building, right? It's like it's a shared apartment complex. So
right.
Confirming what you were told at the TV station by checking the mailboxes, you see that Frank Mars lives in apartment 219 on the second floor. Do you guys head up there? Do you want to canvass or talk to people? Like, what are you doing?
Well, first of all, like, obviously taking everything into account, like looking around a little bit, snooping around, especially on the second floor. You know, maybe there's a key hidden under a rug or a foot mat or some shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no rug outside of the apartment, like there's no doormat.
Doormat,
yeah,
that's so
there's
weird.
nothing like that. There's no key underneath of that. And you guys get to his apartment and it is locked. But I want both of you to get... actually, no. Vince, your alertness being as high as it is, after trying the doorknob, you put your ear to the door and you can hear the faint sound of a television on the other side of the door.
I put my my index finger to the lips and just whisper, 2 things could be. Someone's home, or the TV is just magically turned on. What do you think? Should we try and knock, or should we just bash it in?
If we try to kick the door and someone's gonna hear it, and private detective will know you can't just go around kicking doors in, at least last time I checked. But then again, you are the cop, so...
Well, to be fair, normally I deal with a lot of other situations, but let's not get into all of that.
Yeah. So, I will step forward and knock on the door, although you would see me kind of reach back, to the small of my back under my suit jacket, and I thumb back the hammer on my revolver, just in case.
Vince, that is a new revolver that he has. Previously, he had a much smaller caliber size, but you know this to be a .357 Magnum. You just know, just from the grip and the size of the thing. Scott's definitely upgraded since the last time y'all were together.
Yeah, I think he nods approvingly at seeing this, and also keeps one hand back at his...
Yeah, so Scott, you knock on the door and there's no answer, after waiting a few beats.
Okay.
If Vince puts his ear back on the door, is there like anything?
Nope, you still
changed?
hear the sound of a TV. TV's still going.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll look to Vince and say, well, before you go kicking it in, you wouldn't know how to pick a lock, would you?
Well, that's the thing. Probably not.
It never hurts to ask.
You know what apartment buildings tend to have?
A building manager, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you could always kick the door in, whatever you guys want to do.
I don't know much about these Mozart people. I don't think they're the Pinkertons. I don't think we can just kick in doors and get away with it.
Yeah, Vince sighs. Just let's see. Let's maybe talk to a manager.
Yeah, see if we can find the super.
It doesn't take that long to do that. You go back down to the first floor. There is a name tag for one of the people that lives here that does say building manager. Name is Doris Fletcher. You knock on her door, and she answers. Can I help you, gentlemen? She looks like she's in her 60s. Gold, grain hair, flowy dress.
So with the brightest smile he can muster, Vince says, "Oh, didn't realize there'd be such a young lady as the manager here. Hey, good madam. Hope you could maybe help us a little bit." And I show her the private investigator.
Yeah, she adjusts her glasses. She squints, takes a look. Oh, private investigators. Oh, from Harrisburg. Oh, I used to live there back when I was younger, and I moved out here so I could, enjoy the mountains a little bit more. Oh, is this about Frank?
You absolutely guessed it.
I haven't seen him in a few days.
Yeah, that's why we're here. So, if you wouldn't mind, would like to maybe check up on him. We've heard the police has already been here. Is that right?
Yeah, they have, and she leans in and does the hand to the mouth thing. But my understanding is that, from what I was hearing some of the officers saying, the chief of police, he doesn't want it. He doesn't want to cause a panic. So I mean, apparently there's just been more than Frank going missing.
More people, you say?
Yeah. There's this nice young lady who lives a few streets over. Her name is Laura Stein. She put up these posters about her son going missing.
That's a shame. Wow. So we were just called from his workplace, actually. They just find out what happened to him, and I thought we'd come down and inquire with you if we could maybe get the key to look around, see if there's anything left that could provide us with somewhere to go, basically.
Sure. I mean, I don't see why not. Both of you give me human rolls.
Oh, I'm terrible at that.
Yep.
That's fine.
They'll make it funnier when you fail.
Yep.
Right,
I did fail with a 26 over 13.
All right, let me try. Success, 7 under 61.
Scott, you notice that Miss Fletcher, she looks nervous. She keeps looking between the two of you, and then, she's clasping her hands together like this. but looks like she wants to say more, but she can't quite bring herself to do that.
I'll kind of step in. Miss Fletcher, I can understand you being reticent to talk to a pair of outsiders like us, but we need you to be entirely forthright with us, okay? You're not in trouble, no.
My, those are some $5 words you're saying there.
Well, making use of a quality education, Mozart High is the best.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if this might help you or not. Yeah. Can you boys just give me 1 second? And she leaves the door open and she goes back into her own apartment space. And she comes back and she holds up a key and smiles. You know, not like brightly, but just smiles at you guys. And she just kind of weakly waves for you guys to follow. And she says, before I hadn't seen him, you know, he had been a little off for at least about a week now. Like, he seemed like real jumpy, and he was a little bit meaner. I don't know, like, normally he's a very nice man, and, you know, he even helps me when my TV isn't working sometimes. It's an old thing. So he comes down and he looks at it from time to time when it's on the fritz, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he was just real short, real firm with me, and he's not normally like that. Frank's a nice guy.
You know, of course, I hate to pry into other people's lives like this, but did he drink at all? Did you know if he was having some sort of issue at work?
Not that I know of. No, I mean, he just lives here, sir.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
It's just the normal interactions that you know that we have when we see each other passing by in the hall and such. So, but if he drank, I don't know.
Well, of course. All right. Well, thank you very much, Doris. You've been very helpful.
She's gotten up to the door by now with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
She unlocks Frank's apartment and hands you the key and says, "Do bring it back to me when you're done, please, and lock back up."
Absolutely.
Absolutely would not betray that beautiful trust. Thank you very much, Doris.
She smiles and walks back off. So the two of you walk into Frank's apartment and shut the door behind you. And I'm going to use that time to pivot over to Dr. Kimble. So Dr. Kimble, you go to Marie's diner and you get, well, first of all, you order food to go. What was this cheeseburger order? And it's okay if you don't actually remember because you didn't remember in character.
Yeah, I, Caius, am going to try to remember. And
excellent.
I will miss things. So he wanted a cheeseburger. He wanted bacon, lettuce, tomato, a pickle, fries with ketchup, and coleslaw on the side.
I feel like you actually remembered his order, though.
And he wanted it medium rare. And then Kimble is also going to get him, what soda do New Yorkers hate? What would offend a New Yorker?
Water.
If you get me water, I think I throw you across the room.
Yeah, okay, so he'll get a couple water bottles.
Yeah, that makes sense to Dr. Kimble's mind, because Eddie's doing the brunt of the tracking on the map and whatnot. He's got to stay hydrated, you know?
Yeah.
Makes sense. And what does Dr. Kimble get for himself?
Kimble's going to order a shepherd's pie and a slice of some old-fashioned coconut pie and a large milkshake. And I think he'll also get some water for himself.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's, that's his order.
Cool. Yeah, takes
heavy food.
Takes about 15-20 minutes to get all that together, and then, they put it in some styrofoam containers, and, they give you your milkshake in a to-go cup, in a styrofoam cup, and you got bottles of waters that you then begin to drive back to the bed and breakfast. And you unfold yourself out of the beetle, and I want you to give me an alertness roll, please.
Yes, sir. That's a 2 under 32, so it's a success.
Excellent.
Fuck yeah.
Perfect. So as you have the food items and you are stepping up onto the curve to head back into the bed and breakfast, you look down, and snaking its way out of a drainage cover, you see this weird looking red vine that seems to be growing out from Not only just from the drain grate itself, but also it looks like it's coming through the ground a little bit. Oh. From what you can see, it looks extremely thin. And just from, your medical experience, it almost looks hair-like in certain parts. And it looks like the way that it's branching kind of looks like a root system.
So Kimble's gonna, I picture him with the car door open, kind of unloading the takeout. He's gonna carefully place it back in the back seat and crouch down next to this vine and try to see, tilt his head, see if he can see further into the grate.
Okay.
Where it's coming from.
Yeah, you do this. It looks like it's just running along the side, underneath the pavement. It's going through the drainage grate and it's going, snaking its way underneath along the wall. It's just one singular, vine, if you could call it that. Do you touch it at all?
He's going to grab a plastic spork from the carryout bag and we'll just prod it.
Yeah, nothing happens when you touch it with the spork.
Fuck. How stupid is Kimble?
I don't know. Give me a medicine roll.
That is a failure at a 61 over 60.
No.
That's okay.
No.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're just... The only thing you can make is it's a weird plant. I mean, it's red. You've never seen, a vine that is... I mean, maybe there are red-colored vines in nature, but you've never seen one. So this is your first time seeing something like that.
I'm trying to think about if Kimble would touch it. Yeah, I'll touch it.
It's odd to the touch. It feels both waxy and oily, but it doesn't leave any residue behind. Mm. And now that you're reaching down to touch it and you feel it, if this is like a plant in nature, it's definitely one you've never seen or heard of before. But then again, plants aren't really your thing. And yet this seems oddly familiar, but you can't quite put your finger on what it is.
I think he feels like it looks like a vein.
So, if you start to go along that train of thought, yeah, this weirdly seems to be akin to nervous tissue. Give me a sanity roll, please.
That's a success at a 62 under 67.
Yeah, you lose nothing. Yeah, it looks like it would be akin to nervous tissue because, in your time as a doctor, you would have had to look at different cross-sections of the human brain, looking at the human body as well, just because of the different correlations, body, brain, all that stuff. And yeah, you've seen a cross-section of nerve tissue before, but naturally occurring in nature, come on, that's silly.
He's gonna go into the trunk of his vehicle and open up a small briefcase and pull out a scalpel and a slide, and he wants to take a section of this vine vein and just keep it to look at later.
Eddie, as you are sitting at the desk up in your room in the bed and breakfast, and you look out the window, you do see that Dr. Kimble has returned, and he is across the street, parked. One thing does kind of stick out to you, though. You notice that where he's parked is similar to where you saw that sheet-like figure earlier.
The fuck is this guy doing?
You just see him crouched.
I'm gonna open up the window. Yo, bring up the fucking burger. My shit's getting cold, man.
Kimble does not respond and is going to do what he said he was gonna do.
Yeah, so you take a little scalpel, you cut into this weird vine nerve tissue type thing. It comes free easily enough, and you put it inside a little baggie, and what do you do with it at that point?
Can he pull at the other, at the end of it, just to see if it, any comes up? Does that make sense? So he's cut into it, and now he's got an end that's loose, so he's gonna try and just yank on it.
Weirdly enough, even though you were able to cut a part of it free, when you try to pull on it, it seems to give back a little bit. There's a little bit of give to it, but it could just be stuck on a pipe or something underground.
Yeah. Okay. If he takes a step back and he gets the food and he gets the, he locks his car and everything, and he looks back at the vine vein, has it healed itself?
No.
Okay. Then he'll go inside.
Okay. Flipping back to Scott and Vince. You're in Frank Mars's apartment. What would you guys like to do?
Is Doris still at the door?
No, she walked away.
Okay, wonderful. Vince is pulling out his gun out.
You closed the door behind you. You walked in and closed the door behind you. Yep.
Yeah, Vince is pulling out his gun, keeping it ready.
Yeah, likewise.
Safety off, finger off the trigger, though.
So as you're walking in, you see that there's, in one part of Frank's apartment, there's a work table that is covered in various types of electrical equipment, various hand tools, and looks like some homemade gizmos, right? One item in particular looks like this small device that seems to be in the process of being built. It looks like a flashlight covered in different types of wires and circuitry, and it doesn't appear to be active right now. This is what you immediately see. And also in this living room area, there is the TV that is on, and it's just playing a program. It's just playing a regular program. There's an easy chair sitting in front of it. But also there's a TV tray that has been knocked over onto the floor. And what you see to be that looks like the remains of a meal that have been scattered into the carpet. Either of you have forensics?
No.
I do not.
Okay. No worries.
Fucking cop doesn't have forensics.
I'm not a fucking cop. I'm a bomb diffuser.
Yeah.
Same difference.
So you won't need to roll search. I'm presuming you guys are going to take your time going through here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no clothes appear to be missing from what you can see. There doesn't appear to be any empty coat hangers. And Frank's wallet, keys, and you also go into the bathroom. His toothbrush are still in the apartment. So for all intents and purposes, Frank hasn't left town.
Interesting.
Also, you guys would notice nearby the workbench table, there's a small box that have a bunch of different electrical components inside of it, as well as a few different things. Give me 1 second here. So you also find a note in this box. Question, Scott, do you have your Polaroid camera with you?
I absolutely do. Whenever I'm on an assignment, I don't go anywhere without it.
Yeah, are you taking pictures of anything, or taking so actually, question. Do you just take pictures of any and everything, or is it only specific things related to your investigation?
No, film is expensive, so I'm usually pretty conservative with it. But I would have taken a picture of the chair, the TV set, and the overturned meal.
Okay.
I'm also going to take a picture of this, before we start touching it, I'm going to take a picture of this workstation.
Okay.
After you do take a photo, Vince will just pick up the note, which seems to be written on a small, we always call them vocabulary cards because we always wrote our vocabularies.
Nope.
Yeah, do you want to read that out loud for our audience?
Yes, that was the point of me picking it up.
Go ahead.
And then he will probably loud enough, obviously, for Scott to hear, just say, "This is addressed to Frank." So I guess the booster gizmo was a bust, huh? Oh well, lightning's a bitch, but hey, it was worth a shot. Here's something that might interest you. I got the plans from a new BBS. I dialed up last night. It's a signal jammer. Just adjust the dial for modulation, and away you go. Not sure it will ever be useful, but sounds like a fun weekend build at any rate. Pop on over if you need some new parts, or a beer. And it's signed with Cal?
Yeah, the TV repair guy in town. And then the other thing that you saw, Scott, are what looks to be plans for said signal jammer, or a high-frequency signal interrupter. And your intelligence is high enough to deduce that there's maybe something here, but this isn't your area. But Vince, on the other hand, if you take a look at these plans, given your knowledge of wires and circuitry when it comes to bomb defusal, this is adjacent in some ways. It makes a certain amount of sense, but yet there may be something to it. It's primitive, but either Frank Mars was sitting on a potential gold mine for a government contract for such a signal jamming device, or the man is clearly insane. It's hard to tell. The fine line between genius and insanity is quite thin.
Yeah, looking at the high-frequency signal interrupter, Vince just says, yeah, it kind of makes sense. They could have interrupted the signal, maybe even sent theirs through that, I don't know. I've seen some adjacent stuff at least like that. If you wanna blow up a building and you don't wanna be inside, you could do one of those transmitters. Also, there's like a little note down there, and he squeezes his eyes before reading. Note: variable frequency must be adjusted based on signal to noise ratio. Yeah, waving the little piece of paper around. So, I mean, as I said, somewhat adjacent to what I do, but also let's maybe question that Cal dude.
Yeah, absolutely. This is things just got interesting real fast.
Oh, absolutely. I think they. Let's be real. If it wouldn't be for those missing people just randomly disappearing, I would be questioning why the fuck we're here. But after inventing, and he puts it in air quotations, some of that, and then randomly disappearing from the face of the earth, it could be something for us.
Yeah. Now, I got a question for you. You were saying that in your line of work, you've seen not this, but something similar. In terms of if this guy wanted to get into the bomb-making business, maybe wanted to leave a nasty surprise behind for anyone meddling in his business, how easy could he do that, seeing what he can do here?
Oh, if he can do shit like that, easily.
I will say, Vince,
Okay.
given your wide array of experience,
Might want to watch a step.
there's nothing here to indicate that this guy was making bombs. Like, there's no accelerant, nothing like that.
I mean, just because he didn't manufacture them here, Vince probably didn't think about this before, and now he's being way more cautious. And he just do a double check of the apartment and like check for everything basically. So like he flips the recliner over and looks if there's a compartment under it where somebody could have stashed something, and he checks basically everything he can think of where you could hide a bomb.
No, that's fine. So, you do that. You flip over everything, you start pulling all the clothes out of the closet. Scott, you follow his lead, and you start moving all the different components around. I will say, nothing here to indicate a bomb, but you do find a version of the map.
Oh.
And it looks like this.
Oh.
Ooh. Holy shit.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you find that when you start to move some of the components aside, Scott, it's underneath of the box that you found the other pieces of paper in and the plans for the signal interrupter.
It's the puppet from Five Nights at Freddy's in the bottom right.
Oh, fuck. But
No, it's
talk to
great.
somebody.
God.
Yeah, talk to somebody on Thursday. Now, here's a question: with Scott's high intelligence, he wouldn't necessarily understand the mathematics. That's not his field, but would he at least recognize some of the symbols, like the lambda, the theta?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
Okay, so this is obviously pretty fucked up. Suspense, and then points at a few things. Talk to Cal. Also, he seemed to have gotten the same ideas that we do, and he taps on the talk to Sandy on Thursday. Get records of complaints. Call locations.
Yeah.
Lightning strike, August 30. Relay number 2. 1 to 1:45 p.m. That's weird.
Yeah, fuck me running.
I think we really gotta talk to this Cal. He runs the electric shop here, I think.
Yeah.
After talking with the others, we should.
Now, I will say, given that your knowledge of circuitry and wires, Vince, isn't too far off from this, like, looking at the map and looking at the signal interrupter, you think maybe given enough time, maybe you could finish, or because whatever this device is, it doesn't look like it's complete. Like, the actual flashlight-looking device is, like, not completely finished, as opposed to what the drawing looks like. But you think given enough time, you could probably recreate it, or finish it, or something.
Yeah, I think talking with Cal is gonna be important. If he doesn't provide us with anything, just give me a lot of time, a lot of coffee, and a lot of cigarettes, and I'm gonna get one of those done eventually.
All right.
As the two of you, Scott and Vince, are standing here in Frank Mars's apartment, just looking at this map, it occurs to both of you that in the note that Frank wrote to Cal, or was going to give to him but never did, the mention of what BBS is, which you both know to be the bulletin board system, which is a very rudimentary form of what the internet was back in those days in the late 80s. It was the internet before the internet, essentially. So if the plans came from there, it might be something, it might be nothing.
Is there even a way to like literally check out where all of that came from?
It'd be easy enough to access a BBS system, probably within the. You saw one in the TV station.
Mm-hmm. I actually was going to ask, in our searching, did Mars have his own computer?
No.
Okay. All right.
So, Dr. Kimble, you've grabbed the food after your foray with the vine in the street, and you head back up to Eddie's room. And here's what I'm going to say at this point. Eddie, as you have been going through and marking things down on the map, you've been making like these little X's and whatnot of where the complaint calls are coming from, right? So they're scattered all over the place, right? Like there are some, like a lot of them are obviously, they're all within the radius of the circles that you can see. The big one that has the main mast, and then there are X's that you're noticing within relays 1, 2, and 3. So far, there seems to be an equal amounts from each, but obviously you would need more time to see, like you're not even through like, well, no, you are like through half the list at this point, but you would need to finish the list out to see if there's more calls in one area than another, for example. But yeah, Eddie, you see Dr. Kimble come into the room with your food. And Dr. Kimble, you set it on the desk, and you find a spot in the room to eat it.
Yeah, Kimble comes into the room and puts down a bag by Eddie, and then sets himself up at, how many desks are in this room if Eddie's
It's just the one desk.
Just the one. Okay, then he'll set himself up on the bed and will start flipping through his own list of numbers to call.
Hey, thanks.
Yep, no problem.
And Eddie, you go to unravel the burger, and you notice that there are no onions on it, like you had asked for.
God damn it. They forgot the onions.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, whatever.
You find anything?
Let's pick it up and take a huge bite. Well, the map that they gave us is kind of useless. The one in the town, it's very small compared to the map that we have. So all these relays are either outside of town or this map's not to scale.
Maybe when we go to Cal's, we can see if we can find a map. By the way, when I was out there, a couple things. I found a missing child poster, and he unfolds it as he gets himself off the bed and slides it in front of Eddie.
Take another bite of my burger, pick it up with my left hand. Burger in the right.
What really stood out to me here was the gray woman thing. It reminds me of that face we saw in the video.
Yeah.
And these symbols on it.
Fucking creepy.
Yeah, do you see this number on the list? Do you see a number that's got most of those?
I could look for the name, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna look at the name.
Yeah, you do see that name on there. Laura Stein.
Oh. Yeah, found them.
Okay.
I'm gonna read out the number to you.
All right.
I'm also gonna go ahead and write it down on the piece of paper so that we have it for ourselves.
I'm gonna go ahead and call just one of the other numbers first, and then I will call Laura Stein. Just because I want to get a feel from somebody without a missing child of what the situation is, and then maybe hop into the deep end.
So you hear footsteps coming up the stairs, and you hear the muttering voice of the older woman who runs this bed and breakfast. And it's not hard to hear what she's saying. She's saying, Peter Brown, David Greenbelt, where are they? And then she knocks on the door. I'm assuming you guys had closed the door.
Eddie's gonna get up. He's got a worried expression on his face, and he's like, Kimble, stand in front of the shit. I'll deal with it. I'm gonna move over to the door and creak it open.
Mr. Brown.
Hello?
Somebody calling themselves CARRADINE is on the phone asking to speak with you.
Oh, yeah, I was expecting that. Sure.
Yeah, you just want to come downstairs to the main telephone and answer.
Do we know the name CARRADINE?
Oh, no. We know because Haney told us.
But do you remember that is the question.
We can roll in, both of us, and see if we remember.
Yeah, I would like both of you to roll n times 5.
Kimble remembers. It is 73 under 85.
Fail. 51/50.
So, proprietor says, well, he's on hold right now. If you want some privacy, I can go to a different part of the house. But it's downstairs, okay?
Just show me where the phone is.
She points down. You just go down the stairs and, by the front desk. It's down there.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely like some privacy.
She walks off.
Kimble, like, as you start to, as he hears her walk down the hallway, he's gonna just hiss at Eddie, say that's Haney's contact.
Haney?
It was who Haney got his orders from.
Oh, the guy above Haney.
Yeah.
Okay. CARRADINE. Okay. So,
Weird names.
All right. I gotta go downstairs.
Yeah, so you go downstairs, and the phone is it's rested on the desk, not on the hook. Yeah, you pick it up, and the voice on the other end says,
Mr. Brown.
Peter Brown? This is CARRADINE?
You could say that.
How long's this extension cord?
You have privacy. You don't need to, walk away. I mean, if you want to walk around the corner, you can.
If there's, a shutter for the fucking entrance of the room, it's up, and I am, tucked away in the corner.
We'll say that there is.
Alright. What's up?
How are things going?
We've, found some leads.
Okay.
Half of the team's out right now. I'm, doing some desk work myself. Just grabbed lunch. Going smoothly so far.
Anything unusual so far?
Yeah.
Be vague, given the environment you're in. But don't worry about what you say over the line. It's secure on both ends.
Halloween ghost.
That's not much to go on.
Spooky woman.
Okay.
Missing children.
Okay.
A lot of radio towers. A lot of complaints. Weird ass VCR tape that we all saw. We got a copy of it. We told the station not to lend it out to anyone. And it looks like they won't, so we don't gotta worry about that. We're gonna probably go on later and extract that anyway.
I don't think that's going to be necessary. Let the rest of the team know that I have an asset in place that you are not to interfere with. They're doing something else for me in town. If you happen to see this man, if you happen to see anybody doing anything similar to you, lines of inquiry or people you've interacted with, do not engage with him.
What do they look like?
He goes on to describe a man with, he says he's in his late 40s. He's got close cropped black hair that's starting to go gray. His face already looks weathered. He describes this man to you, and he says,
If you see anybody in town that looks like this, do not interfere with them. Do not engage with them. He also has similar orders not to interfere with what you all are doing. He's working on something that's going to help you all out. So if you guys don't interact, all the better. Understood?
Yeah.
Okay. Just so we're clear, it wasn't hard to find you guys since this is the only place in town where you could possibly stay.
I mean, what do you want from me? No one's spying on us or anything, as far as I can tell.
Okay.
It's a small town. Not a lot of people to spread the news. I think we'll be okay.
Alright. Do you have a pen and paper handy?
I'm gonna look around me.
yeah, there's a notepad on the desk, and there's a pen.
Pick them up. Go ahead.
I'm going to give you a series of numbers. If you call one and I don't answer back within 5 minutes, call the next number and repeat that process. Eventually I will answer you, and you can update me for any significant developments.
Should I keep this going forward for future operations?
Commit these numbers to memory. Shred and burn the paper that you write them down on.
Okay.
And then you write down all the numbers.
Got them down.
Alright, good hunting, and be careful out there.
Hangs up. The other two of you, Vincent and Scott. So, yeah, you two are in Frank Mars's apartment still. What's your next move?
Does Frank have a computer in his home?
No.
No, we established that he does not.
Okay.
What I'm thinking, honestly, is at this point, I don't think we should try to hit up Cal by ourselves. I think we ought to get back to the others and give them a rundown of what we found here.
Oh, 100%.
All right.
I think Vince would pocket all of the little notes and all of that, and then
Are you taking the
actually
device with you?
I want to take the device with me, yes. And I want to also take all of the electronics, like the box.
Easy
I
enough.
put the device in the box and I close the box. and try to move as stealthy as I can outside with the box.
You don't need to worry about being stealthy.
Oh, okay.
No need to worry about that.
Oh, and before we go to, I'm going to turn the TV off.
Oh, I would assume you would have
Good
turned it
call,
off
good
when you first came in, unless you kept it on the whole time for some reason.
I imagine we probably, like, just as we were going through things, not really thinking about it, didn't bother.
Okay.
I mean, it drowns our noise in the apartment, so...
Exactly, yeah.
No, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. So you guys get out to Vince's vehicle. Vince, you load up the box into the back of your car. Your alertness is high enough. So, across the street, you see what looks to be a formless figure just staring at you from a distance.
Define formless figure for me. Is it like, do I see a silhouette, but it also looks just vaguely human?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's just staring at you. So, do you look away? Do you keep looking at it? Like, what do you do?
Vince is literally just staring at it, like you stare at the abyss stares back, and in this case, it's Vince who stares back.
Okay. Yeah, no, since you are okay, so...
And is Scott in, like, touching distance?
Yeah. So, like, are you never taking your eyes off of it, or...
Yes, without taking the eyes off, Vince just, like, reaches with his hand to alert Scott to this, and just says, John, right across the street. Figure. Do you see this?
I'll look.
No, you see this figure, too.
Oh.
Yeah. Its head is, as you both are, like, looking at this form, the first thing that stands out, the head, looks like, even from this distance, looks ghostly pale, hairless, earless, slight features and a neutral expression. Almost like a mannequin or a doll, with only the approximation of any sort of features and skin that is too smooth. But the most striking feature are the eyes, which are these black voids that are like holes in the fabric of reality.
What was on the fucking paper? Gray woman?
It also just looks like, the way that it looks like it could just be like a sheet or some sort of clothing that's hanging on a clothing line between houses. But yet, your guys' experience doing what you do, something just doesn't seem right about what you're looking at. But also, you are higher up in the mountains a little bit. You know, the elevation could be fucking with you guys a little bit. It's hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
Did we already pack away the electronics?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you reckon? Should we walk over?
Kind of at a loss for words right now. Just, yeah, right behind you. Definitely has hand on the butt of his revolver.
Mm-hmm. Yep, same. Vince too, and you do see, like, his hand is grabbing his gun and his knuckles are completely white.
Okay, so you guys are gonna head in that direction?
Yep.
Yeah, give me PAL times 5 rolls, please.
Oh! Vince fails with a 78 over 75.
However, Scott succeeds with a 15 under 60.
As you're both walking across the street, Vince, you feel a stabbing pain in your head and you have no choice but to drop to your knees. Scott, you start to keep walking, but then you hear Vince drop to his knees. And you turn and you look and you see blood is seeping from his eyes, his ears, and his nose.